Here we are once again. Happy Monday, everybody, and happy long weekend, I guess, right? If you're in Canada anyway. The reason I say if you're in Canada is one of my guests today is from the good old US of A, and we'll be getting to her shortly. We're just going to make sure everybody is on board and ready to go. It looks like so. I hope you've had a fun long weekend. What have you been doing? Camping seems to be popular on this long weekend, right? So not bad weather for it, especially if you were here and partying or doing whatever you do on the long weekend. But I know there was a lot of fun being had out at Captain Kidd Days all weekend long. Started off Thursday night. They had movie night thanks to Main Street Credit Union, and I was there to enjoy part of that. The Mighty Ducks was the movie. Only Canadians will watch a hockey movie in the middle of summer, right? And then carrying on throughout the weekend, of course, the Friday and the Saturday and the Sunday, it was just lots of fun for the kids and lots of music, that's for sure, and all about giving back into the community of Corunna out there, a lot into sports and some other special things that we'll also be talking about coming up on the show. And shout out to my son, Jason, who had his birthday on Saturday. That was August 3rd, Saturday. Happy birthday. Happy 19th birthday. 19. That's a big number, right? So shout out to my son, Jason. I know he's been having lots of fun. And he kind of gets spoiled because he gets to have like birthday over at his mom's and then he gets it here. It's like Christmas twice or something like that. So happy birthday, son. 19's a big number. And future's looking bright out there, right? And then it's just been busy all over the place and nice weather, and it's great. So, you know, the sad part about the long weekend is it's kind of a hint that summer's almost over. Can you believe that? No, don't say that, David. Summer's almost over. Well, it's not quite over. There's still a few other things to happen out there as well. One of them is the Brights Grove Market that I mention every week because I want to make sure that everybody gets to know about it. The Brights Grove Market out in Brights Grove along Kenwick on the lake there. Beautiful. Lots of water around Sarnia and surrounding areas, Sarnia, Lambton, and the Brights Grove Market happens every Wednesday from 4 till 7:30 p.m. So local food, local music. It's just all about the local. And even if you just go, I find these markets, they're like a social gathering as well, right? You get to go out and see who's in the neighborhood and just a good time to have some fellowship, I guess, local fellowship. So get out there. And if you're in Sarnia or surrounding area, take the drive from Sarnia. It's only like 10 minutes. Somebody said to me the other day, all the way out there, really? All the way out there. All 12 minutes of a drive, all the way out there, right? It's like going to Corunna. I've timed it. It's 12 minutes that way too. 12 minutes to Corunna, 12 minutes to Brights Grove, all the way out there. Take the trip. It's worth it. Also, my friend, and I got to see Fergie over the weekend. He came out to Captain Kidd Days. And he does open mic every Wednesday night here in Sarnia at Village Gardens. And it starts at 9 o'clock. Doug Fergie Ferguson, we call him. Yes, Sarnia has... You've heard of Fergie. Well, we've got a Fergie too, but he does open mic down at Village Gardens every Wednesday night. So if you don't have a guitar and you just want to sing, he'll play the song for you. He knows thousands and thousands of songs. He's like, Dave, don't say all that. He knows a lot of songs. And it's just a good time down there. Good friends down at Village Gardens. Again, every Wednesday night, 9 o'clock. And if you want to catch up with me, that's usually where you can find me on a Wednesday night too. So I'm looking forward to getting back there and seeing some of that. And I'm just going to check in with one of my guests here because I don't see her. Technology is a wonderful thing. All right, carrying on. We'll get back to my first guest is having some trouble getting in here, so we'll just keep an eye on that. So yeah, every Wednesday night in Village Gardens. Blue Water Border Fest. Boy, it's like we've been talking about this for a long time, and it's one of those things. It's like here before you know it. Blue Water Border Fest happening this Thursday. It starts, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? 4 days of Border Fest. The reason I had to think about that for a second was I'm getting my dates all because Tall Ships, Border Fest, and Artscape all happening at the same time. Well, sort of at the same time. This Thursday night, Blue Water Border Fest begins with its country night. We've had Mark Perrin here to talk to us about everything that is happening at Blue Water Border Fest, and it starts off with a country night. I will be your MC Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Holy moly, no sleep for me. And it'll be tall ships during the day as well on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm going to be broadcasting live from the Blue Nose 2 from the Parade of Sails. And I'll be broadcasting live all throughout the weekend and at Blue Water Border Fest in the evenings. Of course, making the announcements, but I'll be backstage live streaming. What does that mean? Probably some special guests, maybe some interviews with some of the bands. Of course, Lou Graham is going to be there. Dennis DeYoung from Styx. It is just going to be an exciting weekend. Tokyo Police. Do you remember the Tokyo Police? They're going to be there as well. Still time to go online and get your tickets. Go to bluewaterborderfest.com for all of that. Okay. I'm just going to, there she is. Okay. Now I feel better. Okay. Anita's there. We can carry on. All right. So Big Wreck, of course, is also going to be there on the Friday night. That is going to be a very special performance from Big Wreck, of course, losing Brian Doherty, band member, recently. $2 from every ticket will go towards the Canadian Cancer Society. And Big Wreck also now dedicating every performance to former bandmate Brian Doherty. So I know that's going to be a special night for sure. And Big Wreck, wow. Just I know my wife's going to be there because she loves Big Wreck. That's for sure. All right. So go and get your tickets for that, bluewaterborderfest.com. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the tall ships. Let's give you a nice shot of that. Look, tall ships are coming to Sarnia. 6 tall ships. The Coast Guard ship is going to be down there as well. And again, I will be live on the Blue Nose 2. And keep an eye out. Might have some tickets. Oh, speaking of tickets, let's go back. Look at that. These showed up. Look at that. Those tickets. Lou Graham. I got tickets for Lou Graham, a foreigner, at Blue Water Border Fest. Keep an eye on my Facebook page. Later today, I'll be making a post for your chance. We've been giving away tickets all week, and they just keep showing up. Tease. Blue Water Border Fest is going to be exciting, along with the tall ships. And what else is exciting is my first guest. I got to tell you, I met this lady just recently, sort of by accident. And I've been thinking about, I have 3 guests every week on the show. And I thought, why don't I take this down to 2 local guests, and then we'll have 1 international guest every week. So this was the week I decided to do it. She doesn't even know this. So this will be my first international guest on the show today. Oh, yeah, she is so ecstatic. I can see her in the lobby right now. And the reason I wanted to do this is for the longest time, this show has been about local community. And as I've gone through the process of growing the show, I've met a lot of great people in other communities around the world. So why not share our communities together through the power of live streaming? So if she can stop crying for a moment, let's just bring her on. You're just going to be ready. Right? And there is my friend, Anita Myers. And
oh my God,
Anita, we've met, I guess, about a month ago.
Yes.
You, along with Dolly, I just adore both of you. You're wonderful.
Oh, I adore you. You're wonderful. I love having you as the person that does the production of our show. So you're wonderful. I'm so glad Stephen introduced me to you.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how that connection thing works, right? And of course, we talk a lot about that, you and I, and
yes,
the universe and everything. But I'm thrilled to have you here as the first international guest on this show.
Oh my gosh, David Burrows! I'm your first international guest. I need a minute. Like I need another minute. Like we need a minute for that. That's huge. I feel so excited.
And like I said, that this has always been a community show about where I live, and there's so many other great communities out there on the planet. Why not use this power of live streaming? And especially with, I'm all about the positive, right? And that's one of the reasons why you and I click so well too, is you're all about the positive. So let's tell everybody who you are. This is Anita Myers. She recently just launched her first book on Amazon. We're trying to get her into the #1 list. and she's over in the United States. I haven't read the book yet. I'm waiting.
No. You're going to have another interview with me as the second international guest after you read the book. I bet you're going to sit there and say, I need to bring Anita back on. I hope that happens.
I hope that happens. Yeah. Let's go back a bit. Let's go back to, I guess, about 2011 was when you started Interscope Consulting, right?
Yeah.
Why did that start for you?
Why did that start? I noticed something about me, before I even gotten involved with that. We all have our jobs. You think about the resume of the different companies that you've worked for, the different jobs that you've had. And one of the last job that I had that was a career was I was an insurance broker. I was working for a brokerage company, and I've been in the insurance industry for over 15 years. And a lot of the times I was spending, you do the black and white things, the standard things you need to be doing. If you know insurance, that's, just what it is. And so what I noticed happening in my experiences, no matter where I actually worked, but I noticed a lot that while I got the job done, there was another message that was being said in my conversations with employees, with bosses, with the HR, all the different spectrum of different people that I worked with. I saw the human side of things, and the relationships that I started to build with people were deeper, where when you talk about insurance, it's okay, it's one thing, but I started getting people asking me questions that were more on the personal level, not my personal level, but more like, hey, you seem to have a good head on your shoulders. You seem to know how to get from point A to B a lot faster and in a much more efficient way. Can I ask you a question about this thing going on with my daughter or my brother and his issue? And I started seeing all these personal stories being, kind of coming unearthed when we're talking about business. So this was really what the business was. And I ended up in a situation where I could make a decision on what I'd like to do with my own life. And I made a decision to say that, I'd like to not do the insurance broker thing anymore and kind of really go into working with people, because no matter where anyone was in whatever career they had, whatever it is that they were doing, people are suffering. They're so unhappy. You ask if they're fine, how's your day going? You hear the manager ask the employee, and you hear the word fine. Underneath the word fine, it's not so fine. So I was looking to set out to work my way in to change that to being something from the inside out. The answer is fine, really awesome from the inside out. So that's how I started.
The reason when I chuckled there for a moment when you said the word fine, we have a thing in our house. When a woman says everything's fine, it's really fine. When a guy says it's fine, it's fine.
That's right. It's like a Mars and Venus experience with the word fine.
Totally. Yeah. But I understand what you're saying. I think where you're going there is there's just a lot of people pretending to be happy.
Yeah.
Right. Or there's zombie happiness. I guess.
Right. You're right. Like they could either they're pretending or they're just kind of avoiding. I know what I had seen in the different walks of my office life, where you see people who look like they're really working, but if you really look into some of the screens, they've got multiple tabs open, and those other tabs are conversations with people in their family or friends or lovers or whatever, where there's arguments and problems and issues, and people are overwhelmed in trying to get everything done and trying to be everything for everybody, and they've lost their way, and they're very, very stressed out, frustrated. And at some point, I started seeing that we think about reaching a status in our jobs. We want to be the president and the CEO. And I looked at things like that, and I thought, your life is your business. And we're like owning an enterprise. We have all these different categories in our lives, our personal side, our physical side, our financial side. Those are all enterprises within our own business, with our own enterprise. And if we could really hone in on each area and really give it its focus, we would really have a very quality life, a higher quality life. And I'd love to see change happening from the inside out, which is why I named the company Interscope. Interscope is all about looking within. We're looking at everything on the outside, wanting to absorb all of that, but we're really not ready on the inside to take that in. So that's what I like to do.
And well, you've had great success with it, but not without its challenges along the way. I know, right? And this has been well, it's personal to you for different reasons too, especially this book, because of your own personal life journey. And you share a lot of, again, not reading the book, but talking to you, I know you share a lot of that in the book, and you share a lot of that with your business of Interscope Consulting. Was it a hard choice to make to go? Because I think the reason I say hard choice, I mean that from the angle of money. We rely a lot on money. I mean, we've all got bills, we've all got stuff to pay. So to walk away from something, you had to have some support or like what? How did you get through that?
Very slowly and very carefully. There in the beginning, there were different jobs that I was able to sustain outside of the Interscope Consulting world. And in that time, you test market it, you try things out, you see what works and what doesn't work. And then over the time that you spend, you start acquiring what is valuable, what isn't valuable. Then you start putting in a little bit more investment into it. And then eventually, it is a sacrifice. And I even think about how there are people that work really, really, really huge jobs, make so much money, but they're so super stressed. And then they leave that job to do something very menial, but they're so incredibly fulfilled. And, for someone like myself, you do want to be able to have a great relationship with money, a relationship with it. And I think a lot of people have poor relationships with money. And when you have the sense of angst and desire in a way that is kind of, it is that starving need for money, you'll do anything and everything. And sometimes that's a good thing to do, and sometimes it's not a good thing to do. You have to be able to think a little bit more logically about what you have available and what you can ask for, and then you build your value. And as you build your value, more and more, I've noticed that in the time I have spent with my passion, the money comes. That's just part of the whole flow of things. If you really, I remember saying, I'll say it like this: when you think about relationships of people who are single, there are women, and I know this enough years of my life, that there are women, they're like so hungry to meet a man, and they go to every bar and they go to every street, they're like looking and hunting for that guy, that one guy that's going to save the day. And then they come home completely deflated because they put so much focus on areas of what they're looking for that they bypassed all the potential that was around them. In the same case, we can do that with money. There's lots of creative ways to be able to bring our income to us, but it really involves the starting point, which is where's our passion, where's our purpose, what are the values, and how do we kind of form who we are. And I believe that when I started getting myself more and more involved, that I was able to do this where it's something that's on my own. And I love seeing what I'm seeing. And even now, it's still a climb. I'm not at the highest success rate of the money, but I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at how many people can my heart touch with the experiences that my mind has and the education that I was able to acquire. How many people can I touch and change in that sense? So,
well, and the success of that, I think, even just talking to you the other day, you seem kind of overwhelmed by recent events of this new book of yours that I know you've been working hard on, and you're inspiring people, you're impacting people, and it's reflecting back onto yourself though too, because you're getting that you're feeling pretty darn good right now.
I am. It's so hard from the up. I love that you said that, David, because if anyone could have just been the fly on the wall in my home and from my apartment, from my family when I was a child and growing up all the way to where I am today. What I share in the book, without giving too much away, is, these are 4 perspectives of, I'm going to say, 4 females: a child, a teenager, a young woman, and the woman that I am today. And when you learn these perspectives of what took place involving emotional abuse, physical abuse, the kind of effect that a lot of people don't really pay attention, why these things affect so severely, and they last for, it lasts till now. There's people that are in their 60s and 70s still suffering from something that was said consistently for their childhood, their teenage years, their growing years. So, when I say that I feel good, that's a long time coming. And I don't want anyone to have to wait that long to feel good. But this is the place where in my life, I can say confidently, where before I couldn't, that I love the feeling of reaching missions, accomplishing missions. I don't know about you, but I'm sure you do too.
Oh, yeah.
When you hit that mark, you're like, I did that. That was awesome. And, not everybody's going to cheer for you. So, damn it. No. I'm going to cheer for me. I'm so glad I got to this point. It's a really good feeling.
Well, and that's interesting. My two favorite words, and I talk about it all the time, probably to the point where my wife and my son are tired of hearing about it, but is building relationships and then having an impact on those relationships. And even the relationships that you don't know about. I mean, because those, there might be somebody watching this show, or there's somebody going to read your book, for example, that you've never even met. Maybe they've just found it who knows where they found the book. And the opportunity to still have impact on that person, right? The person you don't know, that's a relationship as well. And I think the fact that you share a lot of yourself in this book makes people feel not alone, right? And there's that other word of hope. I think a lot of times we forget about that word. I always remember that word from that movie, The Shawshank Redemption, right? Sometimes hope's the only thing. And having somebody believe in you, right? When you're not feeling like you're believing in yourself.
Well, just imagine that, Dolly Cortez. She is the owner of Rose Gold Publishing. Yeah. I'm 47 years old, and I think I've accomplished many things in my life, and I think I'm in a good place. I meet someone like her because I met her to actually do a different project, work on a different project that I had in mind. And what she ended up doing was, and I'm going to do it in a metaphor, she kind of, if you have a house and there's this, I use this example to someone else, and I just kind of really like this idea. Everyone can relate to it. In your house, you have a closet, and you dump all of this stuff in the closet. And you kind of shut that closet door as best as you can. It kind of bows. Well, in our heart, we have a lot of emotional junk, a lot of emotional things, things that we just kind of shove into this closet, and it just kind of bows. And you just kind of keep going. You keep doing your thing and keep moving forward and accomplishing all these other things and focusing on that. Well, this woman, Dolly Cortez, decides to march on into my damn heart, open up that door and say, you're going to work on this. And I thought, oh my God, like that's the one thing. Can we not talk about that? And all of us as adults, we have that one thing we can't talk about.
Yeah, I don't want
to ruin the book, but that's what I ended up talking about. And it wasn't easy. But it was absolutely needed. And now that I've done what I've done, I can say that I hope everybody gets an opportunity to do, to look at the thing that you don't want to look at and work through it so that you can really feel free. It's a very good feeling.
Yeah. Well, we need to be honest with ourselves, right? And it's the hardest thing because, you can walk away from me anytime, but you take this wherever you go, right? And you have to, I get pretty I can't even say it, philosophical about it.
Yes, I do. I could just sit and you and I could just sit and have a show for hours and it wouldn't be over because I love talking to you and the information. We're kind of on the same page, so it's really cool.
Well, we have to stop. We have to stop lying to ourselves, I guess.
Yeah.
Part of, and I know that's part of the message you share in there. Now, when did this change for you? Like, I mean, because you talk about all of this, and then like you had to make that decision to. And I'm referring to the book. When did you decide I need to share this stuff and let's put it into a book?
So. As I mentioned, how good old Dolly Cortez did what she did. One of the things was she was looking at a previous project that I worked on. And in this project, she just couldn't hear my voice in it. She was reading it. She was really trying to read it. And I said, no, I'm telling you, my voice is in there. Keep reading. I was really stubborn about it because it was a 5-year project. And so she started to read it, and she finally got to one part, and she says, okay, I heard your voice in this one area. Well, the thing that she picked, as I mentioned, was that closet, but the thing that she picked was, it was a poem that I had put in this project. And this poem was very incredibly vulnerable to me. It was the one thing I put in there that was difficult to put up, but I did it. It was a collection of memories that I had that I put together in poem form. And I remember when she said this to me, I really hesitated, like, oh God, this is the moment where she took me out of that comfort zone and put me right outside of that circle, and I had to work it. So as I worked on it, she said, this is the thing you're going to put as the first chapter, as chapter 1 in your new book. And I remembered saying, gosh, okay. So what I had to do was step forward and give that the chance. And what ended up happening was I had a writer's block from October, which is when we began, till May, the deadline of May. Wow. In May, it all came out. I just kind of went, I'm a spiritual person. And I said, when it's time, it'll happen. When it's time, it'll happen. I would sit in front of the laptop. I'd be waiting for those words to come out, and darn it, it wouldn't come. May, it shows up. So from May to June, everything flooded out of me. And I was typing like a cartoon, what you see, just totally getting it all out. And what ended up happening was, I guess it was, the whole closet was cleaned out. All the information came out. And when I read, I handed the manuscript to her, and she gave it back to me saying, no, reread it. You read it. And I'll tell you what happened. It's kind of like a Christmas Carol, the story of a Christmas Carol. It was like I was watching what took place that my heart dispensed. And as I was watching it, I wanted to go and save the story, the person in the story, all the stories that were there. I wanted to go save that girl. And I had that moment of wanting to, and then realizing that I actually did. And that's when I knew there was something so much bigger happening from what I just put in this book, that now I'm so passionate about wanting as many people as possible to read it, whether they're there to support me and they're reading it or not. You're going to get something great out of it. You don't have to be in a horrible situation to read this book. You will have had a situation that you can relate to that's found in the book.
Fantastic. Well, I wish I had some more time for you, but I've got some other guests I've got to get to.
I know you too. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it so much.
Congratulations on the book, and I love positive people, and you are fantastically positive. I see you and I doing some other things down the road as well, and connecting some more on this kind of stuff. So I know we'll be talking regularly. Well, we already are, right?
Yeah, you're my buddy, dude, forever.
And that's awesome. And real quickly, I know Anita does a show as well with Dolly Cortez called The Power Hour. Check their page called The Power Hour on Facebook. They do their Power Hour every Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern or 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. And there's Dolly out there right now saying the book is amazing. And she's probably a little jealous right now. I'm going to have to have her.
I don't put me out here.
She can be the second one, right? We're just having fun with it.
You're going to get it on Wednesday. You're going to get it on Wednesday, David. Yeah, you know it.
Anita, thank you so much. I love you guys. And
thank you so much.
Some more. You're welcome. Take care. Anita Myers in her new book, The Undercover Superhero. She is a superhero. I don't think she's undercover anymore because she's put it out there. It is a fantastic story that I have not been able to read, but I know a lot about it because she shared a lot of it with me, and her partner Dolly Cortez out there who helped her get this book off the ground. It's now available on Amazon. Go get it. That's all you need to do. Go get it. Read this book. It will inspire you. It will help you. There's a lot of many reasons for that. And as you can see, Anita, just such a positive person out there. Thanks again, Anita. All right. Well, speaking of staying positive, and we talked about hope and everything else, my next guest is going to talk about that as well. And this story is probably going to surprise you, but it is a feel-good positive story. And my next guest, Kimberley Wright. Thanks for being here, Kimberly.
Thank you for having me, David.
You're doing fantastic so far. recently, we saw you, of course, you and Paul out at Captain Kid Days. They were kind enough to give you a booth down there to talk about your kidney march. And let's just kind of go back a little bit. Paul, your husband needed a kidney, and you guys looked around and weren't having any luck. And then you went and got tested, and there it was right in front of you, and you donated your kidney and saved Paul's life, right?
Yes, in a way, but also kind of safeguarded my own, because the idea of him not being able to find a donor and not being able to be healthy for our girls who were young at the time made sense that he needed to be healthy. And if that could be me, then I was willing to do it.
Yeah. Interesting, though. I mean, to find, to look around, because you usually, I guess family is usually where you go first to try to find a match. Am I right there?
Yes, absolutely. Your best option for a transplant is a living donor match, and normally it's your family to have the closest DNA. Paul's family is in England, so that's a little trickier system to work through. So finding a family relative, and also being an only child, makes it harder because it limits your pool. So the stats aren't in as to how often a spouse is a donor, but it just was happy that we were a double negative match. So we were really close chromosomes and a good match for each other. And so it worked out well.
Well, and that's really what makes this kind of a cool story, is that you go to family first, and then you look around, and you and then, oh, my wife, the one I'm with, was right there the whole time. And so that's got to obviously make you feel good to be able to, I guess, keep him here, right? For, like you say, for the sake. How many children do you have?
We have 2 daughters.
Right. Okay. So everybody's happy now, and this has been a journey, I'm sure, with many obstacles. But part of the support now that has come from this is the Kidney March. Yes.
6 years ago, Paul and I had our transplant surgery, July 24th. And it was only a few weeks into our recovery, when we were just kind of home, laying low, trying to heal, when I was looking for Kidney Foundation fundraisers in the local area. And when I was looking for Kidney Foundation fundraisers and how to help out in order to keep the research going and to find a cure for other people, I came across Kidney March video on the website. And so I watched it, and I was in tears by the time I watched the end of the first video. It's very moving to see people who do the effort and the work, even when they're still waiting for donors. Many of them are waiting for donors and are on dialysis. And so it was the goal that I had. And I thought, if I can donate a kidney, that's one thing. But I want to prove that I'm still healthy enough, and living donors are still healthy enough to do great things afterwards in life. And so walking 100 kilometers in 3 days felt like a pretty big goal to make, the first month after post-op, and 5 years later we did it.
Yeah, I can hear the passion in your voice for this. I mean, for obvious reasons. And you see your daughter's out there. She's pretty much saying, "Hi, Mom."
Yes. And that's our daughter Elena. She's almost 16, and she's doing the walk with us this year. So that's pretty incredible, because at 15, 16, I would not have committed to such a big goal. And it's a lot of pain. There's a lot of hills out in Calgary, and you're walking through the foothills of the Rocky Mountains through Kananaskis country. So pretty proud, Mom.
Yeah, well, and you should be. Good for you. Well, and I guess that's the other part of this story is, obviously the struggles to get to the point of finding you as the donor, but then, what are we going to do? And I'm sure there's been a lot of conversations, the what if conversations. But there's an example here towards your children too, would you say?
I hope so. We've really been able to help them learn how to live healthier lives, but also the importance of fundraising, giving back, being part of the community, and not only sharing our story, but learning other people's stories. And it's knowing all those other people that have gone through a fight with kidney disease or any disease, that you can help them. You can help them by asking for donations and by supporting the research. And if she can start it now and continue into her adulthood, then that's a great thing for them to learn. And I hope it continues.
Yeah. And You talk about stories. I know talking about Paul over the weekend, or talking with Paul over the weekend, he said, as you walk these 100 kilometers over 3 days, you can't help but have conversations with other people, and you don't know who you're going to bump into. Lot of stories along the way.
Oh, absolutely. We're just a few people from Ontario that travel to Alberta and Calgary in order to participate in the walk. So everybody that we met out there come from across the country and even different parts of the world. And to walk up, and you're coming up a hill, and your speed is a little faster. You gain momentum on somebody, so you start talking, and then you start walking together for 500 feet or half a kilometer, and you hear their stories, and their stories of women who have fought kidney disease. They've had a transplant, but they're hoping to become mothers. Grandfathers who are walking with their children and grandchildren, and who are dialysing at night, and then still getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning and stretching and out on those roads. And the march itself happens on the open roads through Millerville and Kananaskis country, and ending up at Canada Olympic Park. So you have a lot of time when you're walking 8 hours a day up and down the hills to learn those stories, and they really resonate with you, that even though we're healthy and we're able to do it, there's still people at different stages of their journey, and it's a big world out there that you don't know about until you become part of it and you learn about it.
Well, and this just kind of showed up out of nowhere because I've seen some pictures, and I've known Paul for some time, and he just looked and seemed healthy, right? So how did this get discovered that he was going to need some assistance?
Well, for Paul, it was a little bit more unique. He has colitis, Crohn's colitis disease, which some people are familiar with. So he was on medication to kind of treat that. It's an inflammation of the intestinal tract. And then it came across where there was going to be a medication change, an opportunity for better treatment for him. And that's when some baseline readings and blood work were taken, and found out that his kidney function had significantly declined. He was down to 30% function, not feeling any different, which is the nature of the beast. Kidney disease is a very silent disease. It's a silent killer, because you can lose a lot of kidney function without feeling the tiredness that would be associated with it, and the buildup of toxins that start to be created in your body when you lose function. So it's really just a blood work test that brought it up. And then we had to go through some further testing and to see kind of what the cause was, to narrow it down in order to stop it or to know how to treat it. And that testing kind of had a little bit of a hiccup in the hill and led to some internal bleeding, which further declined his kidney function to 13% within a couple of days' time. And so, yeah, we were, lucky that we found it when we did. Too bad we didn't find it earlier.
Right. What about money? Is this all, is this covered by OHIP, or what's the situation there?
It's a great system that we have in Canada. Wonderful healthcare. If you need to be on dialysis, then there is funding in order to have a dialysis machine in your home, or you go to dialysis centers and you dialyze 3 times a week for 8 hours at a time. Okay. With the transplant, it was all covered through the healthcare. The only thing we had to prove is that we had health benefits that could cover the medications, because the transplant is not a cure. It is only considered a form of treatment. He still has to be medicated twice daily. So he's on anti-rejection medications. It's roughly 20 pills he takes every morning and every night to make sure his blood levels remain healthy. His hemoglobin levels are there, and to make sure his antibodies are suppressed enough that his body doesn't realize that my kidney is in there and it doesn't attack it. If that happens, it's called organ rejection, and then it can kill off the kidney. His antibodies will reject it. It will be of no use to him. And then he would have to go on dialysis treatment.
Wow. You said 20 pills a day?
Twice a day. 20
pills twice a day?
Twice a day. He takes a handful of pills every day. We measure them out. He gets them delivered from our great pharmacist. So, our benefits cover most of it. but everybody has a bit of out-of-pocket costs. So there's a couple $100 a month that, covers his medication, but it gives him the freedom to travel. People on dialysis can travel, but you have to plan it a lot further ahead. You have to know where you're going to go to dialyze and get your supplies in order to do your dialysis treatments. His transplant is just packing pills. So when we want to go on a family vacation, as long as he has his pills with him and the right amount, then he's good to go. And he can travel and live a normal life.
Wow. Okay. And of course he's still working, right?
Absolutely. He was able to work the entire time. We were very lucky to have a preemptive transplant, meaning he did not have to go on dialysis before the transplant was able to take place, which is just very healthy. The more people who can get their transplant before that dialysis treatment means their bodies are stronger. Dialysis helps your body cope with the toxins, but it's not a complete replacement. So it does wear your body down over time. And the longer you're on dialysis, the harder it is to get a match and the harder it is to balance your body out to accept a transplanted organ. So he's doing well that way. And fingers crossed, his transplant lasts a long time. The average lifetime is, 15, maybe 20 years that this will last. And then it's quite possible that it could just fail. It could just be the end of the time that it will last for him.
Right. And how long has it been so far now?
6 years. This July 24th was our kidney anniversary.
Oh, okay. Wow. I'm trying to process all of this because I think, again, and you and I know we had a good conversation out at Captain Kid Days, and I appreciated you sharing a lot of that story. And Paul and I had some good conversations out there as well. What about between the two of you? And this must have, you've already been close, but grown you together more as a couple.
Oh, absolutely. I made a deal with the universe before I even knew that I was a match, that if I could be a match, that, we were going to make sure we lived life and we didn't take it for granted. So we do a lot more together. We know, as everybody is taught growing up, that, having a savings account and a plan for the future is important. We just know that living today is even more important because you don't want to miss out on those memories that you can make today, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to be. Tomorrow, you might not have the energy to go for that walk, to go for that bike ride. So we do more as a family. Paul's able to coach our younger daughter in her soccer games, which he may not be able to do without being healthy and having the energy to do it. And we take time for family vacations, and they might seem crazy and busy, but it's the memories. It comes down to the memories you can make and the most out of life while you have the health that you do have. Yeah.
And I'm sure the people that you have met from already going to the walk before, you've established relationships there, and you stay in touch with these folks?
We do. Yeah. We have a lot of them on Facebook friends. Kate, my friend out in BC, she has the cutest golden doodle ever, and Mosby is famous on Dogs of Instagram for all of his adventures, and she's a transplant recipient and doing well. Laura, who's one of the main organizers for the Kidney March, she's so open and helpful and accommodating to anything we need, from helping us get our hotel rooms booked and planning and allowing Elena to join us this year and welcoming her to the Kidney March family. And that's what Kidney March really is family. There's a few other people from Ontario that go out, and this year there's a couple more from Sarnia joining. So the movement is building. It's in its 10th year, so the family is growing, and we're really happy to be part of the family that the Kidney March really is.
Well, kudos to you and your family for sticking together and growing through it. And I know it was good to see you out at Captain Kid Days there, and they allowed you to get a lot of awareness, and you were able to raise some money out there. This is coming up in September, right?
Yes, September 6th, 7th, and 8th. So we walk all day on a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. It's a busy weekend, but it's a really unique experience. You get up Friday morning and you register and you have your opening ceremonies and you walk 34 kilometers. And then you get back to, and you find your tent in Tent City, which is hundreds of little pop tents all set up. And you go to the food tent and you have a good meal. And then you sit around and tell your stories about the day and compare blisters a little bit. And get up and go again the next day and see who's taped up and who's got more blisters and how many times you have to stop to be treated by the medic stations. And then you keep going and do kidneyoki, which is lots of fun. You'd love it. Kidneyoki, you've not experienced anything until you see a bunch of people limping around in onesies trying to sing songs after they have walked all day and can't bear to move anymore. But it's a good night.
That sounds like a lot of fun, but I have to give, and I know you haven't mentioned it, so I will, but you're going to be limping through this though too, because didn't you just have a knee replacement or something? Or?
Not a knee replacement. Unfortunately, we were on vacation a month ago, which was wonderful. We took the girls to Europe to meet their family in England and visit and go to France, and I had a slip and fall. So we're not sure the exact diagnosis, but I've done something to my MCL and possible meniscus of my left knee. So I've got a brace right now, and my physiotherapist, Bob, is really helping me strengthen it enough to get the march done. Because I said a year ago I was doing it, so I'm walking it.
Yeah, fantastic. Good for you. You know what? You'll get through it. I've got a little more time here, so I'd like to just ask you a couple more questions. I noticed you made a post the other day, or was it yesterday, about, is this all worth it? Sometimes I go, is this all worth it? And at the end of the post, and I did read it all the way to the end, you said, yes, it is. And I will push through and I will knock on as many doors. And the one thing that stuck out for me, because I've said something, I always say, seek out the greatness in others, including the ones you don't like. And you, in your post, said, I wish the best for anyone, including the enemies. Right? And that's the challenge a lot of times, right? Is to, we all have people we don't like or whatever, get along with, or whatever that picture looks like. But between all of that, you really are putting out a positive message, and not just for your family and your children, but to me, I would say you're putting out a positive message out to the community where you live in. So it would seem. Do you feel that way?
I hope so. See, you're going to get me, David. I told you. It gets
right.
me. It's important to me to help anybody. I'm very thankful that I was able to be a donor. Mm-hmm. I never would have thought of it had it not affected me so directly, which is what everybody thinks. Would I do it again? In a heartbeat? And I would do it again for anybody. Because until you're in the position where you see a spouse suffering or a family member suffering, mm-hmm. I wouldn't wish that on my enemy. It's hard to think of not being able to help and not knowing what the future is going to hold for you and your children and your spouse and your family. And yeah, I will walk with the blisters and the pain to find a cure. And that's what Kidney March is. Last year, we raised almost $1 million.
Yeah, it was $950,000 last year.
Yeah, over, which is incredible. And for me, that is money for research. And to my knowledge, all of Kidney Foundation events across the country, whether they're the local walks, the 5-kilometer walks, which are fantastic. We've been to Sarnia. They have welcomed us in the Sarnia family and the Kidney Foundation. That raises money, and it's money for research. And it's only research that can find a cure. A cure being a bionicle kidney or medications. So it's not just a transplant for a little bit of time. It's a cure for a healthy future for the rest of your life and everybody else's. And that's my goal, is if walking can raise money to fund these research projects like CKD research projects and things like that, then I'm happy to do it. And I really am thankful for anybody who donates to the cause, because cancer's talked about a lot. Yep. With good reason, heart and stroke with good reason, but it's the silent diseases that don't always get noticed. And kidney disease stems, from people with lupus, from high blood pressure sufferers, from diabetics. All those groups of people are even more susceptible to reduced kidney function and kidney disease. And so it's not just, my family I'm helping, it's hopefully everybody's. And the enemies deserve a good life.
Right. Well, you're on the right track, Kimberly. You're doing a fantastic job, and I'm giving you a virtual hug right now. Okay, I gave you one. Next time I see you, I'll give you another one. Thank you so much for and you were all worried about talking about this. I just got you going, and you did this fine here. So thank you for sharing that story, because I know it wasn't easy. And thanks to Paul for getting this all set up for you. And it was nice to see you guys. We hadn't connected in a while, so it was nice to see you guys over the weekend. And we've got your Facebook page up there, Living on Love 2018. People can go there and find out more. And can they make donations there? Or if they want to make donations, how do they do that?
Oh, certainly. Online donations are a really easy way. If you go to the internet and just Google kidneymarch.ca, it comes up to the main Kidney March website, and there's a link. It says, sponsor a marcher or sponsor a team. Just click sponsor a team, and our team name is Living on Love. And that's Paul, myself, our daughter, Elena, and my dad, Wayne Freer, who's been a great cheerleader. He came and crewed with us last year, and he's coming out this year again to crew. So he sets up all the rest stops and helps all the marchers any way that they need to be helped. So that's our team. And we appreciate all the sponsorships we can get. I set our goal this year at $10,000, which I know is a lot, but last year we raised $6,800. So I think, 10,000 is reachable.
All right. Well, you've got some supporters out here. I know Robin Marks is out here. She's saying hi, Kim, and a mutual friend of ours. And we see Brooke Wiles is out there saying, great job, Kimberley Wright. Way to go. So you've got lots of people around you giving you support, and we'll keep pushing it around here. Just make me one promise. When you guys go out to Calgary and do the walk, while you're out there over the course of 3 days, send me some pictures and keep me updated so we can talk about it. And it'd be great to have you back after the walk in September and come back and give us an update. Would that be all right?
Oh, we'd love to. We love to. And thank you so much for helping us promote the cause and share, what Kidney March is, to hopefully have some more interest and knowledge spread around. We can't thank you enough for all your support.
You're very welcome. Great to have seen you guys again, and I'm sure we'll be seeing more of you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and the rest of the time with your family tonight.
Thank you, David. You too.
All right, Kimberley Wright. Wow, what a powerful story, but one that needed to be told. And I appreciate her putting herself out there and sharing that story with her and her husband, Paul. And what a powerful story. And they're going out to Calgary to do the 100-kilometer walk over 3 days. You can donate to them. Go to kidneymarch.ca to make your donation. And their team is called Living on Love. You can also go to their Facebook page. I got it here. Let's put it up again. I got to find me a producer. I can't multitask. There we go. Go to Living on Love 2018 on Facebook. And I want to say thank you to my two guests. Again, of course, they're Kimberley Wright and my first international guest on this show, on the show with David Burrows. We're going to have an international guest every week. So do you know somebody around on the planet who's got a real positive story that needs to be shared? Do you know somebody local in this community who has a story that needs to be told, or an event, something positive? Put them in touch with me here. I'd love to share the story. Just before we go, I want to give a mention out to the Sarnia Historical Society, who recently has started historical tours again here in Sarnia. And they had the first one just the other day, and lots of people showing up for that. And a tour around, you can even get a magnetic button, and the tours are free. So just go to the Sarnia Historical Society on Facebook to find out more about that. I'm looking forward to getting signed up for one of those. So maybe we'll see you there as well. Of course, I said, don't forget the Tall Ships, Blue Water Border Fest, Artscape coming up tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern. I've got a special live broadcast with some of the artisans from Artscape. Keep watching the Facebook page for that. And of course, a reminder, look what I found. More tickets to Blue Water Border Fest. These are to go see Lou Graham. Yes, the voice of Foreigner. coming down to Borderfest for that. So excited. I'm going to like sleep for 24 hours tomorrow because I'm not going to be able to sleep till next week. But it's all going to be worth it. Speaking of worth it, I really appreciate the worth of my sponsors who've supported me. One of them has supported me from day one is our friends at AG Event Graphics. Visit them online at askguy.ca. Get my tents from there. They do car wraps. They do signage. You name it. If you need something branded, these are the guys to go see. Go and visit them online at askguy.ca and tell them the show with David Burrows sent you. Also coming on board with me as a major sponsor, Joe's Discount Tire, right at the end of Indian Road overpass there. They've got some great deals on tires and are supporting us all year long here as well. And I've got lots of other sponsors to thank as well. I'll be mentioning them over the course of the next few weeks. And yes, because I'm a motorcycle rider, once again, I'm going to put this out all the time. Watch out for motorcycles. Drive aware and ride aware. Motorcycles need to be just as aware. Be safe out there. It is a busy time because people on two wheels are out for the next few months. So keep that extra eye open, the third eye open. Is that what it is? The third eye. Anyway, be safe out there, everybody. And if you couldn't watch me or you don't like looking at me, you can go online to Spotify, Anchor. We're at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere there's a podcast. It's now available within 24 hours of this live broadcast. Everywhere podcasts are available. Very, very excited for that. That's all the time I got for you this week. Oh, you know what? I'm going to talk about this real quick. So you know that watch I always tapped on, the blue watch that I had? I still have it. And I don't know if I ever told you this story, but the reason I tapped on that blue watch was because my sister gave me a watch a few years ago. And on the back, she wrote, "I believe in you." So this is my, my Carol Burnett tap. So she knows I'm thinking of her. So just having my 50th birthday, my sister gave me another new watch. And on the back, it says, "I still believe in you." Thanks, sis. Love you lots. That's all the time I got for you this week, everybody. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will see you next time right here on the show live. Bye for now.